In the quiet, opulent halls of Buckingham Palace, where every ornate chair and velvet curtain hold centuries of history, the British monarchy finds itself at a crossroads no one could have predicted. The weight of history, tradition, and unimaginable pressure rests heavily on the shoulders of King Charles III, the man destined to wear the crown his late mother, Queen Elizabeth II, held for more than 6 decades. The world expected this transition to be elegant, smooth, and seamless, but behind the gilded gates of Buckingham Palace, things are far from certain. The once invincible monarchy, a symbol of unshakable stability, is now rife with personal betrayals, political maneuvering, and incessant whispers of uncertainty. King Charles had long been the heir apparent, waiting in the wings for the moment when the throne would finally be handed to him. However, no one, least of all Charles himself, could have foreseen the avalanche of crises that would follow his accession to the throne. The first cracks in the monarchy's seemingly unbreakable facade began to show in the aftermath of Queen Elizabeth's death. The sense of loss was immense, not only for the royal family but for the entire nation. Queen Elizabeth had served as a constant presence, a steadying hand throughout decades of change. Her death marked the end of an era, and her son, King Charles, found himself thrust into the role of monarch at a time when the institution he inherited was under more scrutiny than ever before. King Charles made headlines with a shock hospital stay recently, and now, the 76-year-old monarch, who is battling cancer, has made a major call. No matter in Rome or London, how long can one be the Bishop of Rome or Lord of the Isles if you are unwell? The king, at least, has decided on an answer. When Queen Elizabeth made a solemn oath to God during her coronation at age 25, to serve as long as she could, she truly meant it. Back in May 2023, Charles made the same promise in Westminster Abbey. However, since then, he has proven to be more pragmatic and less ruthlessly dogmatic in his adherence to tradition. That oath was made before he was diagnosed with cancer, a revelation that upended and overturned all previous assumptions. 15 months on from the shocking announcement, His Majesty continues to have weekly treatment for an unspecified form of the disease. While rarely mentioned by Buckingham Palace these days, they were forced to acknowledge the C word in late March after the 76-year-old was briefly hospitalized with complications due to his cancer treatment. Whatever treatment Charles is receiving, he has been enduring it for over 60 weeks now. Yet, at the same time, the king is also battling a crippling addiction to his desk. His workaholic tendencies are so extreme that, according to reports, he takes only 1 hour off a week. A close friend of the king revealed, he's got a puritanical work ethic. It goes beyond any concept of a working week. He doesn't understand the concept of downtime. If you work for him, the only time in the week you can relax is 11 a.m. on a Sunday when he will be at church. Other than that, you need to be ready from 8 a.m. until midnight when he might call you at any time. This dogged devotion to his work has earned Charles both admiration and concern. Those around him find his relentless attitude a source of deep worry, with Queen Camilla having previously bemoaned her inability to get him to behave himself and ease his workload. She has failed time and time again to hold him back, despite her best efforts. Prince William, too, reportedly worries about his father's workaholic tendencies and the toll they take on him. The situation has grown increasingly fraught as Charles's condition worsens. His seemingly unshakable resilience has begun to waver under the pressure of managing not only the monarchy's demands but also his own rapidly declining health. Charles, who once thrived under pressure, now seems tired, his movements deliberate, his speech more measured. The once towering figure of royal strength is now marked by a quiet vulnerability that has not gone unnoticed. Which brings us to the obvious and decidedly awkward question: what comes next? With each step forward, it seems something new threatens to unravel everything the monarchy stands for. From the outside, the reign of King Charles III might seem dignified and proper, the regal figurehead of an ancient institution. But behind closed doors, Charles is struggling with his own mortality in ways no royal would care to admit publicly. Health concerns that once seemed like mere rumors have now become an open secret within royal circles. The king, whose public appearances have become increasingly rare, has been struggling. His once buoyant nature now appears worn, tired, as if the burden of the throne were far heavier than anyone had anticipated. Doctors close to the king have quietly raised alarms about his physical well-being, though no one dares to speak the full truth. Fainting spells, dizziness, and sudden bouts of exhaustion have been reported as worrying signs, leading many to wonder how much longer Charles can continue in his current capacity. The pressures of being monarch, combined with his health struggles, seem to be taking their toll in ways that even his decades of preparation could not have prepared him for. As the king grapples with his deteriorating health, questions surrounding his future reign become increasingly urgent. Whispers within the palace corridors suggest that the monarchy may be faced with a stark reality. King Charles, for all his years of preparation, may not be able to carry the full weight of the crown much longer. If the king is to step down, the responsibility will fall to his son, Prince William, yet another monumental shift in a family already fraught with tensions. Prince William, once a hopeful and bright-eyed future king, now finds himself in a delicate position as he watches his father, a man he has always revered, struggle with his health and with the pressures of the monarchy. Their relationship has never been free from tension, but the current situation has only added strain. William's future as king is now much more uncertain than it once appeared, and the weight of what may come next is an anxiety that is ever present for him. William is also burdened with his own concerns about the monarchy's future. His deep sense of duty to the crown is undeniable, but the growing dysfunction within the royal family presents a daunting challenge. With the increasing health issues of King Charles and the delicate balance required to manage the monarchy's image, William is faced with a dilemma. How does he prepare for the crown while navigating the troubled waters of his family's personal struggles? His role as a father, husband, and future king now requires him to juggle an immense number of responsibilities, and the toll it takes on him is evident. Meanwhile, Queen Camilla, the second wife of King Charles, has found herself thrust into a position she never expected to occupy. Once an outsider to the royal family, she now holds the title of Queen Consort, but her position has never been entirely secure. Her relationship with Charles has often been a topic of public scrutiny, with whispers about her past and her role in the breakdown of Charles's first marriage to Princess Diana. As the monarchy finds itself at a crossroads, Camilla's role becomes even more critical. Her loyalty to Charles has been unwavering, but her own position within the royal family remains one of constant navigation, as she balances her duties as queen consort with the complex relationships within the family. Her challenges extend beyond merely being Charles's wife. She also faces an uphill battle in solidifying her place within the monarchy's hierarchy. While some have come to accept her presence, others, particularly those who remember the tumultuous years of her relationship with Charles, remain skeptical. Camilla's public persona remains one of careful diplomacy, always walking a tightrope between her love for Charles and the deep-rooted tensions that exist within the royal family. Her every move is scrutinized, and the pressure on her to act as a stabilizing force only grows as the monarchy teeters on the edge of an uncertain future. The monarchy's future remains in the balance, with each step forward fraught with uncertainty. How will the royal family navigate these turbulent times, when the very fabric of the institution is being tested by both internal and external forces? Will Charles, as the head of the family and the monarchy, be able to lead with the same strength and grace that was expected of him, or will the weight of his personal struggles unravel the legacy he hoped to build? It is at this juncture, with the monarchy at its most vulnerable, that many are beginning to question the role of tradition in a world that is changing faster than the royal family can adapt. The monarchy, long a symbol of stability, now faces its own fragility, and the world watches, wondering what the future holds for the British royal family. The challenges of the present are only the beginning of a new chapter, one that will require not just strength but an unprecedented level of flexibility and pragmatism. As the king grapples with his mortality, the monarchy faces its most existential crisis in decades. The family, divided by personal struggles and the shadow of past scandals, now has to find a way to unite for the sake of an institution that may be on the brink of an era-defining transformation. The question remains, what will the future of the monarchy look like, and who will be the one to lead it into a new age? Only time will tell, but the answers are sure to come with dramatic consequences, reshaping the course of history.